Welcome to the Woke News Report podcast. My name is Paul. I'm the founder of Woke News Report, which you can find at wokenewsreport.com, and also the creator of Woke Board Game, which you can find more information about at wokeboardgame.com. We have a 12-year-old student wearing a t-shirt to school for which he gets in a lot of trouble because it offends people. His words, the words used on the t-shirt, offends people. Now, I'm not immune to that. Obviously, I'm a lot older than the 12-year-old. I've got him beat by 40 years now. I'm 52 years old. But when I was in high school, I happened to visit a place called Hell, Arizona. And I bought a t-shirt that said hell across it. Now, this is not a curse word. This is this name of the area because the area that I happened to visit was quote unquote hell. It was very, very hot. The temperatures back in those days, as today and as in the past, which we'll show you in an upcoming video, were very hot. But for whatever reason, when I was in high school, I had that shirt on. I had just visited there over the summer. The vice principal, who we used to call God because he acted like he was, decided to bring me into the office and pretty much do to me what this child went through with his shirt. The difference was my shirt, Hell, Arizona, the tourist site, mostly a tourist site, and his shirt, my shirt didn't have a statement about it. It was just a place that I happened to visit while on summer break. This particular kid here, his shirt could be construed as having a statement. And as you know, a statement could or could not be, depending on what side of the fence you're on, considered free speech. And in this case, you're going to see that what he meant by his shirt was an expression of free speech. You'll also see that he did not mean to limit anyone else's free speech. And in fact, at 12 years old, has already learned to respect the free speech of others. It's an incredible video. It also reminds me of when I was probably his age, 10 or 12 years old, and I decided, with pressure from my friends, to climb up to the top deck of a diving platform into a swimming pool. And I was scared to death. I could almost not jump off the diving platform. Now that is at the same time that I watch little kids, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old little kids, just run off and jump and like nothing was going to happen to them. It's a very different thing in how I was raised. I was raised pretty much scared of water. And to this day, I don't necessarily like driving over a bridge. I love the ocean. I live here in Florida. I'm often in the ocean, but I'm not necessarily going to be diving off a diving board. And we'll bring that up. That's important because we're going to bring up something else here in a little bit, right after we watch this video. And I thought I would not play the entire video, but there's no way to not play everything that this child, the 12-year-old in school, has to say about the t-shirt that he wore and what happened to him as a result of him wearing a t-shirt. So we're going to go ahead and get into it.
in the 7th, 10th grade at Nichols Middle School. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with 2 adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions and came to pick me up. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too. I was told that the shirt was a disruption to learning. No one got up and stormed out of class. No one burst into tears. I'm sure I would have noticed if they had. I experienced disruptions to my learning every day. Kids acting out in class are a disruption, yet nothing is done. Why do the rules apply to one, yet not another? I feel like these adults were telling me that it wasn't okay for me to have an opposing view. Their arguments were weak, in my opinion. I didn't go to school that day to hurt feelings or cause trouble. I have learned a lot from this experience. I learned that a lot of other students share my view. I learned that adults don't always do the right thing or make the right decisions. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my own political opinions, and I have a right to express those opinions. Even at school, this right is called the First Amendment to the Constitution. My hope in being here tonight is to bring the school committee's attention to this issue. I hope that you will speak up for the rest of us so we can express ourselves without being pulled out of class. Next time, it may not only be me. There might be more students that decide to speak out. Thank you for your time and good night.
All right. So, the most important thing about that, there's all kinds of things and lessons going on in that video. There's so much going on in that video, and this child, he's 12 years old, is very smart. But one of the things that he says, and I'm going to try to back up to the precise point, and I don't know if I want to get it right, so you're going to have to listen to a part of it again if I don't get it right. But one of the things he says...
Experience. I learned that a lot of other students share my view. I learned that adults don't always do the right thing or make the right decisions. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my...
Even at 12 years old, he has the right to wear a shirt to school. Well, what is it that the woke want more than anything in the entire world? And keep in mind, woke is nothing more than a top-down system people in power use in order to depopulate. That's all it is. That's all woke is. You've got all these people trying to define what woke is. You could take the 30 things that woke is about, no matter what it is, and we talk about it on this show. It's the top-down system people in power use in order to depopulate. You have a 12-year-old that wears a shirt to school, and he says here in this video, even at 12 years old, I know it's my right to wear a shirt. What do the woke say? At 4 years old, 5, 6, 8, 9 years old, you can choose your gender and literally be stripped like a mannequin of all your gender. They can give you puberty blockers. They can cut your breast off. They can augment you. It's like a 4, 5, 8 year old is nothing more than a Mr. Potato Head or a Mrs. Potato Head, where you pull off the nose, stick on the ear. Like, it's a real mess. They are chopping up children, and they call that okay. That they're fine with that. They're fine with chopping up children, medically chopping up children, these doctors. But if a kid wears a shirt that says there are only two genders, guess what happens? He gets called into the office. His parent has to come and pick him up, has to support the kid. Luckily, this particular kid is almost an adult in the sense that he has the kahunas, let's say, to stand up in front of the school board or wherever he is. He might be in front of the state legislature for all I know. I guess he's at the school board. A 12-year-old confronts the school board. He's at the school board and tells the school board this story. What are the chances that the school board thinks it's okay to chop up young kids and turn them into a different gender because they feel like a different gender? I mean, what do you think are the chances? This school board may, in fact, have sexualized books in the library right now, for all we know, teaching first graders and second graders about LGBTQIA, gay, and whatever with picture books. I mean, we don't know. I'm proud of that young man right there. He's 12 years old. He's standing in front of the school board. He's reading his story. I don't know what happened after the fact. I don't know what happened to him or anything else. I only know that that young man right there may grow up to be a great, outstanding citizen and adult. And it is my hope and prayer that he does. We have this other thing here from Christopher F. Rufo. And this comes into play because it's on the heels of what I was talking about just a minute ago about kids being able to change their gender at whatever age. So Christopher F. Rufo here on Twitter, he says, exclusive. Last year, Texas Children's Hospital announced it was stopping gender-affirming care. You can affirm anything, by the way. If you watch the previous videos, affirm, it's like a dog whistle. You can affirm anything. Oh, we have to affirm your mental illness. We have to affirm your sickness. We have to affirm whatever. It doesn't matter what affirming is. We have to affirm it. Oh, we gotta affirm it. So they call it gender affirming care. We're not going to treat your mental illness. We're going to affirm your mental illness. Texas Children's Hospital announced it was stopping gender-affirming care on minors. This is Christopher F. Rufo. You can follow him on Twitter. But I've obtained internal records indicating that TCH secretly restarted its child sex change program 3 days later and has continued en masse. That means a lot. En masse means a lot ever since. Second tweet in this thread. Texas Children's, which is the largest children's hospital in the United States, openly promotes transgender medical procedures for kids, recently hosting a pediatric grand rounds titled Medical and Psychological Care of Gender Diverse Youth. What kind of crap is this? woke, top-down system put in place in order to depopulate. I have said in a previous video, what's going to depopulate the earth? A lot of things. One of the major things that's going to do it is if you chop up little girls and you chop up little boys, that they cannot have children in the future and never will, you're going to depopulate. I stated in other previous videos, the suicide rate around these particular LGBTQIA people, 19 times the average person. Did you deal with this in the 40s? Did you deal with it in the 50s, 60s? No, you did not. Top down, it came from academia. It came from politicians. It came from people who literally want to depopulate the earth. His next tweet, TCH and Baylor encouraged doctors to begin treatment with it's such a hard word, puberty blockers and hormones during adolescence. That means a young child. And then consider surgeries, including breast removal, chopping up kids, and genital reconstruction. Also, a hard word at points to say, but it just means that they're just chopping up kids on a case-by-case basis. According to internal records, Dr. Richard Ogden Roberts has managed parents ranging age from 12 to 17 for gender identity and gender dysphoria. When did you ever hear of gender dysphoria? I've written on Woke News Report Substack, which you can find at wokenewsreport.substack.com, about not necessarily gender dysphoria, but the whole idea, where did this all come from? When did you last hear about it? Klinger, which we used to watch on MASH for 20 years. Klinger was in the Army. He was over in Vietnam. He was fighting the war and helping them. He liked to dress in dresses. There was no indication that Klinger had dysphoria of his gender. A 20-year show, there's no dysphoria of your gender, but all of a sudden, it's a mental case. Dysphoria is a mental condition. They're not treating the condition, by the way. They're not treating the mental condition. With indications for medication, testosterone levels, medicine refill, and quote-unquote specialty services. Despite the hospital statement that it had ceased these practices, Roberts has continued to manage a heavy caseload for quote-unquote gender-affirming care, including multiple patient visits in a single day last week for gender dysphoria and gender identity, and another for HRT. I mean, it's insane. It really is insane. You've got a 12-year-old kid who stands up in front of the school board and says, I wore a shirt. There are only two genders. Nobody stormed out of class. Nobody that I know got offended. No one threw up over the fact that I was expressing my own opinion on this. And yet I was called into the principal's office, and then my father had to be called, and I'm 12 years old. I'm scared to death. I don't know what's going to happen here. And even though the principal is like, no, you're not really in trouble. You've got to do this for us. For what? You got to change your clothes because the principal doesn't like your statement? It's your statement in a sense. And I'm not here to agree that all statements made are the best statements made. But I am here to say that if a 12-year-old is in a position that they are not in power and they have no choice, and someone of power is telling them that their free speech rights do not matter, that is a problem. At the same time, we have a smart kid on our hands. The dad was called, and kudos to the dad for sticking up for the kid and saying, my kid can wear this shirt. On the other hand, you have 7, 8, 6, 5, 9-year-old kids that the medical community and so many people, CDC, WHO, everybody is saying that it's okay if they choose, quote unquote, their gender. And not only can they choose their gender, they can chop up their bodies. Little girls can have their breasts chopped off. Little boys can get their junk removed. A kid can't wear a t-shirt. Everything else can happen. You've got a situation where freedom of speech is opposed to the woke agenda. The woke agenda is depopulation. You can speak all you want, freedom, but they got to shut you down. If you want to go with the woke agenda, whereby depopulation is all but guaranteed, you can never have kids. You'll never raise a family. None of that. When you get your junk cut off, remove your breast, puberty blockers. That's such a tough word. Puberty blockers. That's what they're for. That's what they want. It's all about depopulation. It's not about free speech. It's not about wearing a shirt or anything else. If there was a 12-year-old kid in his same class that came to that same principal that drug him into the office and said, you have to change your shirt, and said to the principal, Mr. Principal, I feel like I'm in a different body. Well, all you got to do is just send them to Texas hospital there that we just showed. And chances are the doctors at the Texas hospital were more than willing to chop you up like a Frankenstein and ensure you can never have kids again. That's what it's all about. If you don't understand that, I don't know what's wrong. But you know what? I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep saying it. The 30 things that we're going to be talking about over the course of time. If you follow, you like, you subscribe, you're going to learn about a lot of stuff. It's not only this stuff, it's a lot of other stuff. You're going to learn about a lot of stuff. You don't even think of what's going on, in a sense, because you're busy and you've got a daily life and you don't have time to really think about this stuff. Wait 20, 30 years when there are no children to pay for your retirement, to pay for the system of America, to pay for how you're going to live in your older age and or time if you've not had the most glorious life, let's say. We're going to come to that. We're going to come to that. And it's scary because it's all planned. It's all planned by the woke and the woke system. It's something you need to understand, and it's something that I need to tell you, or at least help you understand. If you've enjoyed this, be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. We're not going to quit. We're just going to keep at it. Every day there's something new that we're going to be able to talk about when it comes to stuff like this. And I want you and your friends, family, anyone else you know, to be tagging along and learning as well. Because every day I learn something new. Thank you for tuning in.